appreciate being up here, getting a chance to visit with everybody preseason, and obviously a new year, new excitement. I think our players are excited, and I think that's probably the case almost anywhere you go. When you start off fall camp, everybody's excited, but the excitement has been in place now for our players coming off of last year, because we were not happy as coaches. They were not happy as players, the way it finished up, and they went about trying to make sure that that we're on top of things and that we're ready to move forward and continue to move this program forward. That's what we intend to be all about. So the excitement's there, the energy level's there. They came off of a winter conditioning and a spring ball program, I think, where we accomplished a great deal. The first game will be on us very quickly as we head to Idaho, but right now, in terms of our progress, when you talk about just being out on the practice field 5 or 6 times, you're not going to see a lot of progress. You're going to see a lot of guys running around trying to get things structured to where we implement everything and are able to get going at a more proficient level as we go through fall camp. I like the makeup of our team. I think we have a chance to be a very good football team, but there's a lot of teams in the MAC that have a chance to be a very good football team. I think the MAC conference has continued to get better and better over my time here. I think I've been able to see that. Really good coaches in the conference, and everybody's been able to attract really good athletes, and so it'll be a tremendously competitive conference. We're excited about this season, and obviously playing a huge role in what gets done in our conference. I'll talk just briefly about the units, then see if you have any questions, and then turn it over to the coordinators to be a little bit more specific. The unit that I think is going to be really talented for us and a high-grade unit is going to be special teams. I think we have everybody in place to be special on special teams, from our kickers to our long snappers to our punters, to the speed that we have with guys being able to cover kicks, the return guys, their ability to be breakaway type of players. And I think that'll play a huge role in what all we're able to get accomplished this season. So that's exciting to have a unit that has that kind of potential. I think we have very good potential on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Defensively, may be one of the faster units we've had since I've been here. We've got excellent team speed, and that's pretty much across the board. We've got, I think, the fastest linebackers we've ever had. Our corners got their experience. They've got really good speed, and we found out early last year that you better be ready at the cornerback spot, and you better be healthy there and play well there if you're going to get things done against teams that are spread out, like they spread out with our non-conference opponents as well as our conference opponents. So, and we have more bodies at the secondary that are healthy, that are, I think, capable of really playing well. So across the board, it should be a defensive unit that has really good team speed, good physical toughness, ability to make big plays. Offensively, a lot of times quarterback play comes into how good an offense you really become. I think we'll have very good quarterback play. The good part of it is we have 2 quarterbacks coming back that have a fair amount of game experience, which is crucial. We expect that they'll continue to improve and that they'll play better even this season than what they did last season, which will mean that we'll be able to make plays really through the air with them as well as on the ground. And so quarterback position should be very solid for us, and we're hoping very strong for us. We've got all of our running backs back, great core of running backs. Our offensive linemen are going to be more experienced than what they were last year, and that includes the tight end spot. Our wide receivers, most of those guys are coming back that made big plays for us. So we're really excited about the entire unit and see how far this unit can really go. But not just offensively, but across the board. As a team, excited to see how good that we can become. The one thing that we did do in the off season, we spoke to a lot of people. We had Monty Kiffin, who I think most of you guys, if you follow pro sports, are very familiar with. He was in and spent about 2.5 days with us. And if you know Monty and his enthusiasm for football, you don't even get a chance to eat lunch. And then you don't get a chance to eat supper because you walk off the practice field. Not only do you have your film to watch, but Monty has plenty of film for you to watch. And so he has been very helpful to us. Obviously, has coached at many different on many different pro teams as a defensive coordinator. Coached as the defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl winning team, and so you add his college experience with his pro experience, and we were excited about him sharing information with us. But we have reached out to a number of other schools, to a number of other coaches. Myself reached out to a number of head coaches, just wanting to try and grab information across the board that maybe would have a chance to make us better. And obviously, if you look at the last couple years, I feel we've had probably more injuries than teams that I've been around in the past. And so we looked at everything from what we're doing in the weight room to how we're practicing, to the length of our practices, to how we're going to practice, what kind of shoes we're going to wear in practice. Are we going to try to get on the grass? Maybe a couple days where we are not doing heavy work, maybe like a Monday and maybe like a pregame day to try to keep from getting all the pounding that you take on turf. And the idea is to be an outstanding football team, not only as you work your way through the beginning of your year, but to be able to maintain that and be an outstanding football team at midseason and be playing your best football at the end. Because the bottom line is we want to win the MAC championship. And you can start off as good as you want, but if you're not ready to go in mid-year and at the end of the year, your chances of winning a MAC conference is wiped away. And so we've looked at a ton of things. We made a lot of adjustments that we think will be helpful to the program, and we can't wait to get the season started. Any questions you guys have of me? Well, the question was, when did I come to a determination that we were going to dig into things as deeply as we have? I've always been a guy that's been open to change and, in fact, encourage change. You know, I don't think you ever want to change just to be changing. But if you're not willing to look at what's happening around the country with different programs, look at teams that are being successful, how they're operating, you probably are not on the cutting edge of football. And so I've always been a guy that feels like, I don't necessarily have all the answers, that it doesn't just have to be done my way, that there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and we want to find out what's the best way for Ohio University to do that. And so I've known for quite some time that's in my makeup as a coach. But after the last 2 seasons and seeing the number of injuries that we've had, wanting to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help our players be able to get in shape and then stay in shape and have them be in an atmosphere that's going to help them be at the top of their game and help them with trying to stay injury-free. And so in seeing, I think it was time to do a lot of that, reaching out. And the good thing about being, I'll call myself an experienced coach, Good thing about being an experienced coach is I know a lot of coaches around the country, and I've got a lot of contacts to where can make calls, can go visit, can ask guys to come in, and generally we are received very, very well along those lines. So we can actually go almost anywhere in the country to look at different programs. We've been to Ohio State's program in the off season probably 4 or 5 times, and I know our coordinators have been in touch with their coordinators, and Urban Meyer has been great in terms of allowing us in and talking football, and so that's huge in our thinking. We look very hard at what they're doing offensively, defensively. Obviously, I'm interested in. Was there to watch one of their practices as they were in the Final Four, one of their Final Four playoff games. Saw that they were doing a dynamic stretching routine. He talked about he had gone to Philadelphia where Chip Kelly, Chip Kelly, and got some stuff from him, and that's kind of what they do. And so we changed our whole stretching program just from viewing that at one of their practices. I've talked to David Cutcliffe from Duke. He's been tremendous, and they're a high tempo type of team in terms of how they practice. If you saw an ESPN shoot about them in one of their practices, and they were interviewing David, and you saw players running from one thing to another, and obviously, if you're doing that, you may not have to be on the field as long, and they're not. So you looked at the amount of time that their team was spending on the field versus what a lot of other teams do. It kind of makes sense. It made sense to me to cut down on things to where we're giving them less reps, and maybe less individual reps is going to help you in the long run, because that's where you do a lot of your hard planning, cutting, change of direction stuff in your drills and individual work. So cutting back on that some, I think, is going to be a big help. And so we're following a format as to what they've been all about, and those are just a couple examples. But I'm on one of the committees for the AFCA. I'm on the AFCA Board of Trustees, and so that I'm with a lot of the head coaches in those meetings, and so we're able to share information at that time. So it's very easy to get a hold of guys to share information, and they all been great about it. Yeah, I think it's a good schedule. It's a challenging schedule. We travel to Idaho. They were here last year, of course, and in order to play here, they had to travel here. So it's the way it works. And but we're anxious to go there. I think it'll be a challenging game, the first game of the year. When you dig into what they are about and the improvement that they made as the season went along, they're getting a receiver back that is one of the better receivers in the country. And if you look at him statistically, that did not play last year, and they're going to get him the football. They have one of the better punters in the country. They have their quarterback returning, who's outstanding quarterback, both in his ability to run and throw. And he's a smart quarterback. He is not necessarily going to throw it up for grabs. And so they got some big physical linemen, and they've got a good number of guys returning. So we look at that as a very challenging football game. Of course, Marshall, we play here, and Marshall last year was really a top 25 team. They had a great year, and the series between us and them has always been a series of high caliber football where both teams are really playing at a very physical level, and so that'll be the case again. You know, over the last 6 times we played them, I think it's 3-3. And so there's been a lot of great games with Marshall, and I'm sure this one coming this season will be another. And then, you know, Minnesota is a team under Jerry Kill that's really growing in the Big Ten, and they are really improving. Jerry Kill's a great coach, and by the way, I talked to Jerry Kill too. A little bit about it, and he was wondering why I was talking to him about how they do things since we're playing them, you know. But he really can get things done at a very high level. He has that program really moving in the right direction. So that is going to be a tremendously physical football. Southeast Louisiana, you know, was in the playoffs last year, and so when you look at the schedule. You know, it's going to be challenging, and it should be a schedule that really prepares us for conference play. Well, if you look at just last year, we won 2 games on the very last play of the game with field goals. So, you know, just that alone is huge. And but you look at field position with your punting game. You know, if you're not able to turn the field there and establish really good field position, and you give them a short field because your snapper's not great, and the punter has to be off course just a little bit in fielding the snaps, and so his punts are off, and you're just losing yardage. Or if you don't have people that can cover, you can have a great kicker, and he can punt the ball 45 yards downfield with 4-second hang time, but by the time you guys travel 45 to 50 yards, the returner has a little bit of a head start. So if you don't have the kind of guys that can cover with speed and are really physical and aggressive guys, then you're going to have a problem with explosive plays. Explosive plays are so huge in the game of football. Explosive plays and turnovers, 2 biggest things in football in terms of winning in my mind. And you have the ability for a lot of explosive plays in the kicking game on both sides of it. So it's extremely important. Yeah, they've worked hard all summer. You know, they say they've really felt like they progressed this summer. But you know, until you get into fall camp, at least midway, you're not able to really say, hey, this guy has earned the job over that guy. You know, and there's some work to get done. There's a couple scrimmages to be had. You know, Coach Izzy charts everything that those quarterbacks do, and so they're able to obviously we're able to stand behind our decisions. But you can only do that if you chart them for a fairly long time. You give them a chance to operate in scrimmages. Those type of things. You can't just say, hey, you look pretty good in throwing the football and pat and goes. You know, that, and you earned the job. That's not going to set well with them. You know, they need to feel like they've had a real opportunity to earn the job. And so we are a little slow in just saying, hey, this guy's the guy or that guy's the guy.
It's about my 30-something year here. I told Mr. Schaus back there that a couple more years I might get the hang of all this. So hopefully I can answer your questions. We've got a good group coming back, very experienced. That's the number one thing that you like to have, too, is experienced guys. And then I know Coach talked about the speed of our defense and really to defend the type of spread football today that everybody's doing, you have to have speed. And we have good size, too. They're not just small guys. So you put the experience together and the speed together, and you know, you got a good group coming back. I was just looking at you know, people that have started games for us, and even just at safety. I mean, you got Torrin Davis and Nathan Carpenter, Devin Jones, Aaron Macer has played a lot of football for us. Scipio, those are guys that you know that you like to have back because of their experience. I mean, you got Kylan Nelson, who was a corner, and we moved him into a safety position to to get even more speed there. And so there's a great competition there for playing time with those safeties. And then linebackers, our top three plus Chad Moore. I mean, we consider Chad a starter also. So you got Javon, Chad, Quentin, and Blair. And again, experience, speed, size. I think Blair's over 240 pounds and ran his best 40 time during the course of the summer. And then the D-line, you got Lasik, Kurt, Sales. You got Terrell. Trent Smart is in the mix there. And then Kevin Robbins, who came out of high school, signed with Georgia Tech, and has come out of Iowa Western is someone that's going to continue to battle for playing time there. Tony Porter inside, Watson, not sure how to pronounce his last name. Say Tui Sopo, Big Watson. So Big Watson is a nose guard with Cleon. So again, there's talent there, combined with experience and speed and size, and so we expect a lot of improvement. We pretty much changed defenses last year. We thought it was time for a change, and there were some growing pains, with me as a coach and with our staff as a coach. But some of the things we learned maybe the hard way about how not to do things, and so we feel much better about our scheme. We've stuck with it. We've gotten better at it. The players certainly have bought into it, and we're very optimistic that we're going to be much improved in our defensive performance this year. So I'll open it up to questions if anybody has any. Yes? Yeah, it does allow you to take more chances. I mean, we weren't in third down last year. That was one of our issues that we weren't very good at. So with all these guys on the field, we can have different substitution groups, different personnel groups, and with that speed, try to define who our best pass rushers are, our best cover guys, and so we become a little more multiple on third down than probably we were last year. And again, we were going for simplicity last year and installing a new defense, and we're still going to try to be not complex, but again, our experience and our speed does open up some things that we can do more of. Well, pretty much that's the way it ended, last year, and at this time, again, just like Chad Moore with one of those three top linebackers, I mean, we really considered Evan Bass a starter. 2 years ago, we thought he had a great year. There was a time a couple years ago when I think I told some of the media that I wouldn't trade Ian Wells and Devin Bass for any two corners in the league. And then last year, I think Devin being injured, hurt his performance. But he's really a starter for us also, even though Brett may be on the depth chart ahead of him. But that's basically how it ended up last year. Although, again, in the Miami game, all of them played quite a bit. And Devin, even in that particular game, played a lot of nickel or dime for us. Again, just leadership. Last year as a freshman, even though he's a great player and he provided leadership more by his performance. But this year I think he'll combine and get better even at what he does on the football field, but being able to lead in the locker room and on the practice field and be a little more vocal than he was last year. He's never going to be a yell and scream guy and jump up and down and bang people on the head, but he's a very confident young man, and I think just that confidence and the experience this year will allow him to be much more of a leader. His performance is going to be, just what it was last year, hopefully even better, but his leadership, I think, is going to be a big part of our improvement on defense and our whole football team for that matter. No, he's not. He's good size. He's not 240 pounds, but he's got tremendous speed and the knowledge of the game. His football intelligence is out of the charts, off the charts, and that even showed last year. And once again, it combined the experience and his knowledge of what we're trying to do on defense. I'm pretty sure he could draw up or tell you what most everybody on our defense is doing right now, and that's a big bonus when the guy in the middle is kind of the man when it comes to being able to help people line up if there's issues, make calls, make checks. And we put a lot on our guys to make things like that, make checks, and he's really good at that. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, that's the other thing. It's a smart group, and that's as key as anything to what we're trying to do. The more football intelligence you can get on the football field, then the better off you're going to be. That's a position that we certainly are looking at to make sure those guys are coming on. Between Watson, Cleon, we're looking at other people in the rotation there. But anytime you lose guys like Crutch, Cameron McLeod, who's with the Houston Texans, I mean those are hard to replace. But we think from a talent standpoint and athletic ability, then it's just a matter of getting those guys playing time and getting the experience that those other guys had. It's probably the least experienced group, but Watson did play quite a bit of football last year as a nose.
I'm very, very excited about getting this thing kicked off. It's my 11th year. I was on the elevator coming down with Coach Collins and said something about it's my 11th media day, and he said we should get a collage of all your family pics of 11 years. My kids came here, they were about this tall, and it's been a great run, but very, very excited. My voice I'm in full camp mode with my voice, as you can tell, pretty raspy. I apologize for that. I want to give a shout out to the staff on offense. I worked with a bunch of great guys, and Coach Solich mentioned Scott, but Dwayne and Dave and Brian do an outstanding job. I think we got a great staff offensively. I know the word experience has come up quite a bit with Jimmy and Coach. I'm right on board with that. It's obviously we're a lot further along this time 5 days in than we were a year ago. For sure, we return a lot of guys at every position. I'll try not to mention every name. Once I start mentioning names, I'll leave somebody out. But got a very experienced group just as far as number of plays and reps they have been taking over this last year. On paper, they still look young. There's a lot of sophomore and junior guys, but they played as freshmen. I think I'd mentioned to somebody talking here in the last couple of days, maybe Jason after practice, but then in the Miami game last year, in the second quarter, we had a pick six to go down 21-0, and I didn't really realize it until spring practice. We were watching tape on something, and on that play when we threw that interception and to go down 21-0, we had 6 freshmen on the field at the same time on that play, 6 freshmen. And Robbie Walker played in every game, and he was not on the field. He'd been 7. So, we're young, but we're not young anymore. They've got a ton of reps. They're coming along. I'm very, very excited. I really like what I see from the work ethic. I think off-season wise, Coach Sandals done a great job. I know Coach talked about visiting other places, and there's a lot. He didn't mention a lot of people that he had talked to. We had Tennessee in here, was in here visiting with our staff. John Bowman, offensive coordinator at Michigan State, as an OU alum, has been here. Coach has talked with Jerry Keel at Minnesota. He's done his due diligence on how to do things with where we are, with how we practice. Coming down the elevator with Ron, I'd said something maybe to Scott. This is my 11th year, and it feels like it's my first year. I don't know where we're going and what direction, because we've changed a lot of things and how we do things. I think it's been for the good. His coach has done a great job of looking out for what he thinks is best, and we're adapting to it. We're still moving around, but it's been a lot of fun. Getting with positions, I'll start with the O-line. That's kind of where everything starts. You start with Lucas Powell, Mike McQueen, Michael Lucas, Troy Watson, Darrell Wood. Those guys have got a ton of reps with Lucas Powell, Mike McQueen, Michael Lucas. Those guys have basically been getting reps for us in game situations for the last 3 years. They've had a great offseason. I want to give a big shout out to Mike McQueen. I really think he has come a long ways. I'm really happy with his offseason, and all the guys for that matter. everything goes to the guys up front. We want to run the ball. Everything is so much easier when you can establish a running game. I mean, that is the number one thing we want to do. It's just the game is easier to call. We're just in control of it when you can run the football. Now, we want to do, what we want to do when we want to do it. And that's what everybody wants to do. But we got to get the ball in our playmakers' hands, but the running game makes it a lot easier to do those things. So I'm looking forward to what we return experience-wise with those guys. And every week those guys get better and we stay healthy there. We should have a great group for Bobcat Nation. I'll save my group for last. I'll mention the quarterbacks, and they've have come a long ways, I think, from the spring practice. The new building across right over here has been huge for the guys, particularly in the off season as far as getting throws and timing. I think that we're farther along with having that the new indoor, without question, as far as our off season training goes, as far as throwing and catching. That's been a huge plus. Darius is a team captain. I couldn't be prouder of him, how he finished the season last year in the Miami game. The leadership that he's provided for us in fall camp has been great. J.D. Sprague, I thought had a great spring. We just got to keep J.D. We got to get J.D. to get what he's doing in practice and into a game. Just a sophomore last year, he'll be a junior this year. I'm looking forward to watching those guys get out there and get going. And then I'll mention one more name, quarterback-wise. Greg Wyndham, I think, has come a long ways. Scott's done a great job with him. Great attitude. He's had a great offseason. Has done a good job in the fall camp through 5 days at the quarterback spot. Tight end, Troy Mangin. Played as a true freshman. Basically took every rep for us last year. Has put on some weight. I think he's around 260. And I think he's a really good target for us down there. Obviously, a downfield big guy at 260 pounds. I think he's maybe had the most catches we've had from a tight end spot since we've been here in 11 years. So I'm looking for him to have a great year. We've got a transfer in Keith Heitzman that graduated at the University of Michigan through 5 days. Shows a lot of promise. That group is young. If you do your research and really know what, us, we've been a big 12 personnel team, and we ask those guys to do a lot of things. Get next to a tackle, come off the ball, and double team, and then get out in space and block guys. I think they're going to bring something to the offense as far as making plays for us, especially in the red zone with those big guys. And then, also, again, like I said, I'll save my group for last. Wide receiver-wise, we return all the guys. We graduated Landon Smith. I think Ian Dixon's going to be the only senior we have in the group. But Sebastian played for 2 straight years, played as a freshman. J.R. Reed has been playing for 2 years now. Brendan Cope, now this will be his 2nd year, just as a sophomore. Those 3 guys need to be huge for us. And then we've got to get some guys that to step up and come in and get those guys some relief. I like what I've seen so far. We got some work to go at the position, particularly in the run game and the blocking. But they've had their best 2 days making plays down the field for us the last 2 practices, and I've seen a huge jump in the blocking portion of it from those guys. So there's some talented guys there to work with. Running back wise, that's my group. I can't see a group in our conference that's got a better group than what I got. I mean, I'll look you straight in the eye, and that's what I believe. I've got, I think, 6 guys in my room that it's your series, let's go. That's what I feel right now. I'm splitting the reps up equally. Obviously, AJ, Daz is back. I got a couple of guys that redshirted last year. Poppy White got injured in the Kent State game. That was playing in the rotation as a true freshman. He got the medical red shirt and will have 4 years left. Malik Irons, Bo Hardy, Dorian Brown played some last year. So I got 6 guys, and we're going to have to find ways to get those guys involved. They've all got kind of their own unique dynamic, I should say, talent that we can use offensively. So it's going to be interesting to see how we get it packaged together. But I think we're off to a good start. I really am excited with those guys. They're very intelligent. We ask a lot of them. We're trying to keep things up simple as we can up front. and changing formations into motion or whatever, and it's kind of the same thing for Coach Johnson and his group. So all in all, you know, with everybody back, I challenged the guys all off season, hey, we got a lot of guys back, and that's good news. You know, that's not bad news. That's good news. Coach mentioned I think he said maybe 2, but we had three games that were won the last play of the game, field goal wise. I've challenged my guys in my room. I know all 6 of them better be on every special teams. That's been their number 1 goal, and they're moving towards that. But as an offense, I think that the bottom line is we didn't score enough points last year. That's all we've talked about. That's how I challenged them when we started spring ball, when we finished it going into summer. That was the first thing out of my mouth when I stood in front of them after Coach got done when we started fall camp, because the point production's got to go up. And we put a lot of time in it staff-wise to get that done. And as far as what we've studied, you know, things we need to do different, things we need to take out, things we got to add. And I think we've got a plan put together. I'm looking forward to the Idaho game, getting a chance to get it done. Any questions I can answer for you? You know, to be honest with you, I told everybody that would listen, you can go and start with Coach Sano and Coach, and I said the young man will play as a true freshman. And you can quote me on it. I was not surprised at all. Had we not had a commitment at the time when he was in high school, we would have been recruiting him as a scholarship guy, without any question in my mind. Dwayne Dixon showed me tape in December. And I told him this is what I told Jimmy when he showed me the film in January. And but him coming in, I'm not surprised at all. Now, let's go to the second game and 30 carries and 130 yards. Can I tell you that? No. But I knew what we were getting character-wise and talent-wise. He's had an outstanding freshman year. He's had a good offseason. His weight's up. He's faster. So I expect for him to have another good year. Now, I don't know. With what I got in my room, is he going to carry the ball 30 times? I don't think so. I don't think he will. He doesn't want to hear that right now. But I know he can. So he has had a great freshman year. Now I want him to take another step and have a great sophomore year. Well, I think Coach touched on, as far as the data, and Scott charts everything. He's got a great handle on where they are just performance-wise, as far as numbers. The big thing I think, let's take Darius for example. The Miami game, a couple drives had stalled, and I think at some point in time I made a change and went with JD. A lot of times you get in that situation, a guy can get down on himself, and as a quarterback especially, take it on yourself. Hey, Darius was awesome, and JD got in there, and we went back with Darius the last drive against Miami, right down the field. I mean, that is you can't ask for any better than that. I think that's a sign of maturity on Darius's part, and so going into how we're going to evaluate it differently, Scott, I think we're going equal reps with the guys at this point with Darius and JD, and giving them ample opportunities with the ones and the twos and evaluating it. I think it's ultimately going to come down to production and points. It's going to be a tough call when it's time to make it. I'm not surprised at all if you see both guys in the first game. Won't be surprised at all. Well, I tell you what, I'm proud of Daz. He's had the surgery, had the hip. He played basically, I bet you 70, 80%, coming down the last couple of games, had that hip surgery in the offseason, and he's 100%. This is probably the best he's felt since his freshman year. He loves the return game, takes it to heart. He's really good at it. He has, I think, he's a senior. I'd like for him to be a redshirt junior, but we needed him as a true freshman a couple years back. I told him yesterday, or I think it was yesterday's practice, that hey, we got these things that we're going to be doing, and there's a lot on your plate because you're in the backfield and then you're not in the backfield, and we're moving around a lot. He's not a finished product with the package just yet, but we are looking for ways to get him involved and get the ball in his hands, because he has got tremendous playmaking ability, for sure. Yeah, I coached the O-line for about 9 years, and it seems like when you got those guys are banded together and you got huge chemistry and you got a lot of experience up there, it's just that's the personality of the team. The skill guys pick up on it. I think it's huge. The Eric Herman era, Skylar Allen, and Vince Carlotta, Ryan McGrath, that crew, all those guys started as redshirt freshmen at Tennessee. And they weren't a finished product then, but in a couple years, those guys, become mentally strong and was kind of the attitude. And I think that was the big, the 2011-12 run. Those guys kind of set the tone. I feel like that's the kind of group of the guys we got right now. I think they've done a great job in the offseason. I just, the big guys up front is everybody kind of takes on that personality. And I'm excited about hopefully our guys kind of follow along with that.